Welcome back, guys. Welcome this week. We are going to be covering the two cases that are currently playing out in the Magistrates Court. That is the case of little Nada Jane Chalita, who, as we know, we covered her in a previous story. She was drowned in January 2023. And then the other case we're going to be updating you on is the case of Jaden Lee. There's been so many developments around this, and we're going to be speaking about these two cases today. Elif, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Happy to be here to be able to just give light to and continue to tell these children's stories to the best of our capacity. There is so much going on in with Amber Lee Hughes being in court for 2 years, pleading her innocence, denying all claims, and with this bail hearing of Tiffany Meek going on for over a week now, just getting a glimpse into the process and what it takes to bring justice to these children. I'm happy that we can get together, tell these stories, and so let's do that. Welcoming everybody in, all of our guests. Thank you for joining us once again. And yeah.
Elif, so let's revisit little Nada Jane. Like we said, she was a 4-year-old, and the accused stands on 2 counts. So that is murder and also the rape of the little 4-year-old Nada Jane Chalita. So initially, like Edith was saying, she was vehemently denying any wrongdoing in that. She went through quite a few legal representatives who she fired, and then she got another legal representative, which also delayed the proceedings. Now, in the last hearing, what happened was Amber Lee got a new legal representative, and then she changed her original statement to say that she is now confessing. So from not guilty to guilty, which was on the 24th of July. And then the advocate, a new advocate, revealed that she intended to make a formal admission, meaning she would change her statement under oath. And everybody around, including Nada Jane's father, said he is so relieved at this. The one thing is that she did not admit to the sexual assault charges, only to the murder. And yes, by way of drowning.
She still denies the other charges, although there is evidence of that.
Yes.
I believe in the pathology's report that I could be corrected as to where that evidence was found. I think it was with the pathologist, isn't it, Ruth? So she's, after 2 years of denying claims, denying the accusations against her, pleading her innocence, she now changes her plea to guilty after 2 years of, in my opinion, delaying the process by firing her representatives and having to then get a new one, and then it just sort of delays the whole process. She's put this father through so much. And it's really such an eye-opener as to, and we speak about this in the course in recovery, do not disregard the impact that an abuser can have on your loved ones. If you cannot protect yourself from someone, you cannot protect the people you love from that person. And this tumultuous, toxic relationship, and that was brought out in the case, in the hearing, that she admits now that she sat on top of this child in the bath, causing her to drown, and then left her there with the cold water running. And she says her excuse is her borderline personality disorder, which for me is it is infuriating, because so many people struggle with borderline personality disorder, and so many people are wanting to share their story, to educate society around mental health issues. Just because you have a mental health, just because you struggle mentally, does not mean you're a murderer. That is a deliberate decision, a
Absolutely.
deliberate choice that you make. But in her statement, she says that what triggered her was her borderline personality disorder and the argument between her and her boyfriend, her Nada Jane's father, about his alleged infidelity, because we don't even know if that's true, if that was just what she thought. And what the last straw for her was when he said, "You are bombarding me. You are
Mm.
bombarding me," which is an indication of, I am overwhelmed. I'm
With
overwhelmed.
all
Can
of
you
this
give me some
information.
space? This argument
Mm.
is, and her expecting him to drop whatever he's doing to focus on her argument, which he might have been trying to just try and calm for hours already throughout the day. And she decides, because you will not hear me and because you will not satisfy whether it's
Mm.
rational or irrational. To me, it seems irrational, because you will not yield to what it is I need, because you will not satisfy my demands right now. I'm going to take the life of your 4-year-old little girl who you have entrusted in my care.
Mm.
It is so tragic, so tragic. And
It was really good to see her mother, so Nada, Jane's mom and dad sitting together in the gallery. The family was really united. But I totally agree with you. Using that excuse is no excuse. We often talk about people with mental health disorders. Many of them don't act on their triggers, and they manage it. So definitely in this case, it ended not well for little Nada Jane. One of the things that she mentioned was after the act had taken place, when we look at the bathtub, I just want to hop on that. When we look at the bathtub, it was really deep, really, really deep. And when the act occurred, she got out and she apparently tried to slit her wrist. Um, the other thing she tried was make a noose around the tree, saying that she wanted to end her life. Um, but there is only evidence of her pants being wet. There's no evidence of the noose.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I
yes.
was just going to
So
say, now
again,
that explains. You and I discussed this quite a bit in the last episode, right? Around this, that is based on this case. And we spoke about the wet pants, and she said she got into the bath to try and save the child. And I said, um,
mm,
4-year-old, you would pick them up. You won't get into the bath to try and pick them up. It's not a grown adult. We also spoke about the fact that she said she was falling over her pants, and I said that's not likely to happen. When your trousers are wet, they stick to your body. How would you be falling over them? So we spoke about this quite a
yes,
bit. And now it just explains all of these discrepancies in her theory or in her story. I'm wondering, Ruth, with her saying she attempted to commit suicide, slitting
mm,
the wrist. I mean, that's not something you would miss. Is that something that they saw, that there was that she?
there
No.
according to my knowledge, there was no evidence of her wrist being slit. And again, there were so many things here that came out that seemed to allegedly be made up as the case went along. And I know we spoke about the way she articulated her words. Everything was really thought out. So even those discrepancies, I think she added those details as the case went on. It's interesting what you say about the pants, because the entire pants was wet. And if someone gets into a bath, only you would expect maybe just the legs to be wet. But what they found is that the entire pants was wet, which
Oh, yes,
um
a lot about her story didn't make sense. For 2 years, she dragged this case through the court, put the family through this, and she sat there without any emotion, even in
mm,
the lawyer
mm,
reading out that confession. I am curious. I do wonder what made her decide to change it. I don't wonder if the lawyer had encouraged
I,
it?
I think so.
I
I,
think so,
I think
hey?
he yes,
Yeah.
maybe had a heart to heart with her. And
Uh-huh.
because the evidence in the case was the state had a really good case, and I think they must have had a really heart to heart. Um, Going back, you're talking about the dragging on for 2 years. I remember now in our last podcast, we referenced that she had toothache. She had to go to the dentist several times. The change of legal, these were just some of the delays. And Nada Jane's father yesterday was saying this could have been wrapped up earlier with the amount of evidence that is his overview. But again, he and his ex-partner, they were both in court in support of little Nada Jane. But the trial has been postponed, or the sentencing hearing is taking place in August,
Mhm.
and that is going to decide the fate of Amberly and whether she is going to spend the rest of her life behind bars.
Yes. Uh, what I heard, Ruth, and you can just clarify, is that uh, 7th of August they get back. They've obviously got to review everything now, right? They've got to review all
Yeah,
the new information. So they'll come together on the 7th to just have a compiled sort of hearing, and then there will be another date where the state will then decide what
correct. Correct. So,
okay.
yes, you're absolutely correct. There's two hearings. Apologies for that. So, the one is to actually say you've now been found XYZ of this crime, guilty or not guilty, and then the other is to get the sentence. So,
Yeah.
that's going to be happening during the month of August.
I think just my theory is that a lawyer probably motivated and said, look, the evidence is overwhelming. uh, you are not going to be let off. But if you admit, perhaps you'll have a lighter sentence. Perhaps that will be taken into account because you are showing, you are taking onus, and so perhaps that was part of the discussion. But I did look at her energy, and still just nothing. Very, very troubled,
Mm,
and again, I say, having mental health issues, the mental health does not tell you kill someone. That is a decision that we make. That's why, in order to claim insanity, it has to be proven that you didn't know what you were doing, which is certainly not
absolutely.
the case here. What the father said, another thing that he said is, now I just want to know how long she tortured my child, because and that
Mm,
impacted me quite a
mm,
bit, because he's talking about the abuse, the rape, and that there is evidence of that. And if that was going on, that does not suddenly happen on one day. You know what I mean? How long did that go on? What was the, what was the story behind that? I don't know if you'll ever truly get the answers to that,
mm,
because I've just based on what we know so far with sexual predators who offend, they might confess to someone who they can then deny their confession to later, if they do, for the purpose of maybe manipulating a situation. But to actually come out and tell the whole story about what they've done is quite rare. So I'm not sure that he's ever going to truly get those answers. I feel it's devastating, to think that we all we want relationships, we want love, we want family, we want to progress in this way, we want healthy family systems, healthy relationship systems. And that it is so frightening. You have to be so careful who you allow into your life, into your child's life. And it's been taken for granted for the longest time that women can be trusted with children. We have to be careful of men. And you and I discuss this. It's something that I speak up about all the time, is that women are fallible. We are human, and women can be very toxic. We can be very, very unhealthy too. And we're seeing so many crimes committed now. And it's shocking to us because it's not something we want to acknowledge. but so many crimes committed against children that are coming to light at the moment at the hands of women, or women being involved with it or in it. So very, very devastating. 4-year-old, beautiful little girl, innocent in this whole situation. Parents couldn't get their relationship, couldn't figure things out. Toxicity there. This kind of abuse must have been going on for him for a really long time. I think his journey, his healing journey, is going to be quite a process. I feel a lot of compassion
Yeah,
for him and for the mother. Awful, awful thing. But as you say, relief. She's admitting to
really.
something that we've all known, and
Yes,
certainly the
absolutely.
father and the mother sitting in court, listening to the proceedings, listening to the evidence, having to sit through all of that takes so much courage. And it won't bring their little girl
Absolutely.
back. But I am glad that she was up, that there's some truth, that they can have that
Yes,
confession.
closure. Yes, and that closure to know what happened to their daughter in great detail, because that is what Amber provided, the details of the event and how it happened. And I think that's really important for the parents in terms of getting closure and moving on and getting the healing. And I really hope that that is what's going to be happening for them. Her father was so emotional in court yesterday, just thinking back of his little girl. But I'm so glad that this was the outcome. And many people that said they want justice for Nada has now come forward and also shared their sentiments online. So we will keep you posted about the about the sentencing proceedings, which is going to be in August. So look out for that. But thank you so much for sharing the space with us. Thank you, Ella. Um, and we will see you guys next time.
Be safe. Bye.